So you are working as a coach, right? What would you say? What's the biggest struggle, or why do people come to you? What kind of changes they want, or what is the biggest struggle of your clients in general?
Yeah, so most men know they can do better. Deep down within themselves, they know they can do better, they can be better, but there are things holding them down, and they try to push forward, but they're not able to because, self-doubts, self-sabotage, not feeling good enough, and these low-level behaviors, these habits, these bad habits keeping them stuck. And I see these bad habits as like a chain attached to you. You want to fly, right? You want to express yourself, you want to move forward, but these bad habits, they keep you low. They keep you in this low vibration, this low state of shame, apathy, and guilt.
What's the root? What do you think? Like most people, where does all this like stem from? Where does it start? What do you think?
Yeah, the belief. Eventually, it's all the belief. It's a deep-rooted belief somewhere. Yeah. It can either be the belief of I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy. They're all a bit of the same, right? The fear of abandonment. It's like it can go. It's so deep. Eventually, it's so deep, right? And whenever men are stuck with these bad habits, right, a lot of times it's, the main problem, it's not being able to face what's there, right? It's an escape. You feel bored, you feel a negative emotion. What do? You do something to distract yourself. No. And a lot of times this habit is like watching the dirty websites or anything else. You smoke a joint or you smoke a cigarette or you drink alcohol, right? Because something annoying is creeping up you don't want to see. But the way through is to push through that. You have to go through your own dark shit in order to go to the other side, right? Yeah. You have to go through that darkness. And if you continue to suppress it, right, it's like, many men, I think people in general, they're just not able to they're not willing to face that stuff. We're constantly distracting ourselves with like the next thing, right? Yeah. But if you actually go through that, right, that's where the gifts are. You have to go through that darkness, face your dark side.
Yeah, shadow work, that's something very special thing, I think, because, well, it's a dark thing, once you go deep, and life is not only good, there is the bad, and we all have it inside, the dark thoughts, the negative things, and all the beliefs and the trauma from the childhood, whatever it is, and it's like kind of like controlling our lives a lot of times. We are not aware of it, it's not conscious. But I think it's necessary, like you mentioned in the beginning, how you always strive for more, like you want more from life and you want to grow. And I think that's also one of the keys to life, because once you stop growing, you're actually dying in a sense, right? So I think going there and doing the work and going deep and doing this shadow work, the way, that's how, I don't know how many people understand, but we'll get into it. So how did it start for you? What kind of tools can you recommend, or what do you have, or what's your take on shadow work, and what's your experience?
Yeah, sure. So the way I see shadow work, it's like at some point, sooner or later you're gonna be faced with, that shadow part of you.
Demons.
Those demons, right? And you can distract as much as you want, right? Some people try to do it their whole life, right? All they're doing their whole life just consists out of running away from their pain and chasing pleasure, right? That's all people do sometimes. To just not look at that thing and just stay busy and just get the next thing, or just party more, drink more, escape, right? But you'll never grow there, right? You have to go through that dark side, through that dark shit in order to grow. And paradoxically, this is where you'll find the joy as well. So the way what went for me, just like a little bit back when I was 20 years old. Yeah, when I was 20 years old, and I also kind of linked this to being on like very long semen retention streak, right? I was like 4 or 5 months in, like ridiculous. Because at the time I chose to like, okay, I'm not gonna, chase girls anymore. And I'm neither gonna fap, right? So what else to do? Well, semen retention. So that's what I did. And out of nowhere, I was just happy. I was doing my thing, and I was just lifting weights, and I was just thinking, yes, now I'm gonna get even bigger and happier. And out of nowhere, just all these negative emotions from back in my childhood, right? Just traumas that are like, it seems very intense, a trauma, but a trauma can be super small. It's just the way you perceived it when it happened, right? they just all came up to the surface out of nowhere. It was almost like out of my own control. So I started to just look up what the hell was happening to me, what's going on? Like, all these feelings are just popping up to the surface, and I was literally crying for 1 week every single day. But the reason I was fine with that is because I started to look up what was going on, right? And I looked through it, or I researched it, and it's called the dark night of the soul. You go through a very dark phase in your life.
Oh, bro.
Right?
Fuck.
Yeah, the dark night of the soul, man. And it just hit me out of nowhere. And the reason I was able to go through my dark aspects so easily is because I had already created the awareness within myself through meditation, through spiritual practices, to realize that I'm not these emotions. They can't do anything to me. You know, if I can observe the emotions, you know, it can't be me, right? Because if I was like the thinker, right, and if I would be the one choosing the emotions, why would I ever choose a negative emotion? You don't do that, right? So I realized it wasn't me. So because I had that awareness, I was able to allow them in instead of resist them. So the way I went into it is like, bring it on. There's anxiety there, there's pain there. Oh, give me more. Give me more of it. I'll love it. I'll love all of it, right? It's accepting your dark side. I'll love all of it. And when I started to do this in like one of my meditations, I closed my eyes, and it was just a little bit of anxiety, right? There. And I said, no more. Give me more. It's fine. It's okay. And it's like a champagne bottle that popped and everything came out, right? And as I said, it just continued to go for a week, just constant pain. But I was actually accepting myself through the pain. And what I realized afterwards is that I felt so much lighter and so much more, I felt so much more joy, you know, out of nowhere. And I wasn't worrying about things anymore that, you know, that I used to suffer from so much. So I just felt a lot lighter overall. And it's not like that period was like everything, because it happened many more times throughout my life. But there I realized, wow, there's so much power in going through it instead of resisting it. Because it gives you a lot of spiritual growth, and what you're actually doing is you're facing the emotions, right? And they're able to transcend, they're able to go out of your body, and if you don't do this, they stay in there. And that's why you walk around so tense, that's why you cannot, you know, be joyful, because all that stuff is still down there that wants to be seen, but you're not looking at it, because you constantly escape, because it's too painful to look at. So then the question is, how do you get to the point where you're able to truly face that, right? Because I get it, like it can be very scary, right? And the reason it can be very scary a lot of times is you first kind of need to see for yourself that you are not those thoughts and you're not those emotions. So that's why I think meditation is very powerful. I've been doing meditation for like every single day, at least in the morning, for, I don't know, 5 years now. And it has just, you know, once again, given me the awareness to see, hold on, that's not me. So it can't do anything to me. So that's why I think, you know, meditation for everyone is crucially important, to just create more awareness. And once you really see that, you start to gain the courage within yourself to face the emotion, right? Now you actually are able to say, okay, I'll look at it, fine, right? And it's able to show itself, and through it showing itself, through going through it, which might take a few minutes, which might take a few weeks, right? Eventually it will go. And you'll just, you know, you'll become a more mature, happy, more integrated person after all. And yeah, if you don't face it, you don't grow, and the same things will happen in your life, the same problems, the same triggers. You'll continue to feel not good enough, right? Because you're not looking at the root cause. So yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.